So this is basically a shout out to international government. Basically, what I see is we get a societal reward for international government. And there's a lot of good reasons for international government to move towards some sort of international stage of government for the world. Like, who wants to pay the United States for everything? Why are we paying the United States to be spies and be racist about who we do business with and have political reasons and political motivations and religious motivations of who we're doing business with and military motivations, even worse off, military motivations of why and how we're living and doing business, um, when you can pay an international government to be spies. Like, like one of the things with my life is that you can tell that the guilty party is spies, is legal cops and spies because they can't be busted. It's not a mafia trying to run away. It's not a mafia scared that they're going to lose one of their guys or that I'm going on heave the whole mafia, which they'd probably just love. Right? It's because it was because of spies and cops who can't be busted. So that's why my life got ruined, basically. Yeah. But back to international government, who wants to pay the United States to be your spies and to be your military when you can pay the world? And moreover, the international government would take, um, they would do more important jobs than military. You know what I mean? They do globalization, sustainability, you know what I mean? Social interactions, you know, conferences and meetings and festivals and cultures and you know things like Olympics and World Cups and all these international endeavors. An international government could be progressing and developing for the world and for the citizens of the world, as opposed to what's happening now is that people in the back are running it. People people with money, people who deliberately took less money to have give more people money. You know what I mean? This is one thing that Gretzky's kind of guilty of. I think is he thinks if you give his family money, that you gave him money, which is all great and all, but that's how corruption works. Is that you're now giving people's family members and people's associates money, and to them that's money, right? And that's a payment to somebody else, right? So this trickle down effect or whatever. I just rather have transparent money. I think it should be illegal, almost illegal, to keep your money um, untransparent to the law, to the governments and the law. Maybe an international government and an international law would be the most trusted form of disclosure. That you're getting a fair disclosure for international purposes with your money, especially with money, and when people have accusations of drugs and laundering and insider investing or whatever, where they can freeze your accounts. Maybe an international government would be a bit more responsible with how they can look at things and associate things. That's the other thing is an international law. An international law would be appropriate. Like I accuse both sides of breaking international law basically when there's conflict across the world. Both the good guys and the bad guys are murderers. You know what I mean? First off, right? Nobody's arresting anyone and sending them to jail, and they're all escalators. They're all escalating things like torture and all types of other things. So to keep an eye, I think the UN was a start. Yeah, I think the UN was a start, and it needs to progress to get our societal reward of having international government, even if there is countries um, making the primary law. There should be somebody looking out for globalization, sustainability, farming, agriculture, resources. Not just infrastructure, but the invisible infrastructures that we need across the world and across our international domain is in high is in a high regard, and people people in countries keep this in very high regard, and they just fight like the United States, like I want to be the one to do that, and then China's like I want to be the one to do that, and then they fight, right? And then we're not politically supposed to do stuff with China, and we're not politically supposed to do stuff with Iran, and all these people need help still. 99% of the people are poor. All these people we're talking about are poor, and we're not supposed to have, and they're coming up with rules from the rich people about we're not supposed to help them. No deal, no deal. Like I said, I don't want to pay the United States for everything that we should have the international government doing. And exactly. But anyway, that's what I think. International government rules. I think that'd be one of the greatest successes that you could achieve in your lifetime is something like seeing an international government take over sustainability and our resources, such as our man hours, such as we focused our man hours on globalizing the parts of the world that are need globalizing, sustaining the parts of the world that need sustaining. Um, we'd end a lot of the world's problems. Exactly, like the world's problems should go to international government. It shouldn't go to the billionaires. Billionaires haven't solved the world's problems. I'm the closest thing you might even have, and I don't have any money though. You know what I mean? But they don't solve the world's problems. The governments don't solve the world's problems. Who needs to solve the world's problems is the international government. You can put a list of the world's problems on, and then you'll have thinkers from all over the world solving these problems. You have authorities from all over the world solving these problems from the international government. So, international government rules, I think it's the way to go. I think people like greedy people, basically the enemy here will say that otherwise. And they're the ones running this show in the back with the military and money and games and blah 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 blah. And, like we have all these useful people, all these brilliant, talented people, and we got nothing useful out of it. We got them all doing garbage and we get nothing useful out of it. You know what I mean? Pick up the internet and see what's good on it. Exactly. Of all these people, there's nothing good on the internet. You know what I mean? We're all just being wasted and used and useless. Yeah. But anyway, international government.